let me share something important with you. Especially if you're a woman over 70. Decluttering at this stage of life is not about having a picture-perfect home. It's about protecting your health, your peace of mind, and your independence. I've spoken with so many women who tell me the same thing. I'll get to it later. It's not that bad. But here's the truth. Later doesn't always come. And clutter doesn't stay the same. It grows, it creeps into corners, it creates tripping hazards, and it weighs down your spirit more than you realize. Doctors and psychologists now warn that ignoring clutter after 70 isn't just a small inconvenience. It can quietly affect your safety, your memory, and even your emotional well-being. But here's the hopeful part. With the right approach, decluttering doesn't have to feel overwhelming. It can actually feel freeing, gentle, and deeply healing. In this video, I'll share the rules that older women over 70 shouldn't ignore. Rules that come from both experts and real women who've walked this path. And here's my promise. If you stay with me until the very end, you'll not only know what these rules are, but you'll see how following them can bring more peace, more clarity, and more confidence into your everyday life. So take a deep breath, grab a warm cup of tea, and let's walk this journey together, because your home and your heart deserve to feel lighter. As we grow older, clutter begins to feel heavier, not just in our homes but in our hearts. And it's not because we're lazy or careless. It's because every item we've gathered over the years carries meaning. A sweater from a loved one, a birthday card from a child, a photograph tucked in a drawer. These aren't just things. They are little pieces of our stories. That's why decluttering after 70 feels different. It's no longer just about organizing. It's about making decisions that touch our memories, our identity, and sometimes even our grief. Psychologists call this emotional attachment clutter. The challenge isn't whether something is useful, it's whether we can bear to let it go without feeling like we're losing part of ourselves. And then there's something else. Decision fatigue. As we age, the energy it takes to make hundreds of little choices, keep this, toss that, donate this, becomes exhausting. What once felt simple can now feel like climbing a mountain. That's why so many older women begin with good intentions, but quickly feel drained and give up. I once met a woman in her 70s who told me she avoided opening her hallway closet for years because it was stuffed with old coats and boxes. She said, "Every time I opened that door, I felt like the clutter was shouting at me." And that's exactly how clutter works. It doesn't just sit there, it speaks to us. It whispers of unfinished tasks, lost memories, and things we're not ready to face. But here's the hopeful truth. Understanding why clutter feels so heavy is the first step in lightening it. Once we recognize that it's not weakness but human nature, and once we have a set of clear rules to guide us, we can begin to release the weight, one small step at a time. The very first rule of decluttering for women over 70 is simple, but it can save your life. Safety comes first. Doctors remind us that falls are one of the leading causes of injuries for seniors, and most of those falls don't happen outside. They happen inside our own homes. A stack of magazines by the couch, a loose rug in the hallway, or a box left in the wrong place can be all it takes to turn an ordinary day into a trip to the hospital. I remember speaking with an older woman who had tripped on a pile of shoes near her doorway. She told me, "I thought I could step over them like I always did." But one misstep caused her to fall, breaking her hip. The truth is, what feels like a small inconvenience today can become a serious hazard tomorrow. That's why experts say, before anything else, walk through your home and ask, is this safe? Look at the hallways, the bathroom, the kitchen, places you use every day. Remove clutter from walkways. Clear cords that cross the floor. Let go of broken chairs, wobbly tables, or any furniture that no longer supports you. Decluttering for safety isn't about appearances. It's about protecting your independence. Every clear path you create, every hazard you remove, is like a promise to yourself. I deserve to live in a home that takes care of me, not one that puts me at risk. One of the most common mistakes older women make when trying to declutter is waiting for the perfect time. Maybe you think, I'll do it when I have more energy, or I'll start when I can dedicate a whole weekend. But here's what experts and psychologists say. There is no perfect time. And waiting only makes the clutter and the overwhelm grow. That's why rule number 2 is simple but powerful. Start small, but start now. You don't need to clear an entire garage or empty out every closet in one go. In fact, doctors and organizing specialists say that beginning with small, visible areas, like your nightstand, a single kitchen counter, or the entryway table, creates what they call quick wins. These little victories are important because they give you a sense of relief and accomplishment right away, which fuels your motivation to keep going. I remember one woman who told me she began with just her nightstand. She cleared away the pile of books she wasn't reading, tossed old tissues, and placed her glasses and lamp neatly. She said, "Every night after that I felt calmer, and every morning I woke up to peace instead of chaos." That one small step gave her the courage to tackle her dresser, then her closet, and eventually her entire home. So don't wait. Don't pressure yourself to do it all at once. Pick one small spot today, clear it, and breathe in the calm that follows. That's the secret to building momentum. Small steps that, over time, transform your whole space and your whole life. This might be the hardest rule to follow, but it's one that every expert agrees on. Don't begin with sentimental items. When we start with things that carry deep memories, old letters, family photographs, or keepsakes from loved ones who have passed, we quickly find ourselves overwhelmed. Instead of making progress, we get stuck in the emotions. Psychologists call this memory clutter. It's not just objects we're sorting through. It's pieces of our hearts. I once spoke with a woman who tried to declutter her attic first. Inside were boxes of her children's school projects, her late husband's clothes, and albums filled with family photos. She told me she spent the entire afternoon sitting on the floor, crying, holding the same sweater in her hands, unable to make a single decision. By the end of the day, she felt drained and defeated, and she gave up. That's why experts say, save sentimental items for last. Start with the simple, everyday things. Clothes that no longer fit, expired medicines, stacks of old newspapers. Once you've built confidence with those, then you'll be emotionally stronger and clearer when you finally face the memories. And here's the gentle truth. Letting go of some items doesn't mean letting go of the people or the love they represent. The memories live in you, not in the boxes gathering dust. By waiting until later in your journey, you'll be better prepared to honor your past while still making room for peace in your present. One of the most freeing rules you'll ever follow in decluttering is this. Keep only what supports your life today. As we grow older, many of us hold on to things from past seasons of life. Clothes we haven't worn in years, shoes that no longer fit comfortably, or gadgets and hobbies we once loved but no longer use. Each of these items takes up space, not just in our closets or cupboards, but in our minds. I once met a woman in her 70s who had 3 closets filled with clothes. Some were decades old, others were sizes she hadn't worn in years. Yet she confessed she wore the same 5 outfits over and over. When she opened her closet, instead of feeling joy, she felt guilt and heaviness. She said, "I kept telling myself I'd wear them again, but every time I saw them, I just felt reminded of the past." Experts remind us, your home should serve you as you are now, not as you were 10 or 20 years ago. Ask yourself, does this fit my body today? Does it bring me comfort today? Does it make my daily life easier today? If the answer is no, it may be time to let it go. The same is true for personal care items. Bathroom shelves stacked with half-used bottles, expired lotions, or products you never reach for only add to the clutter. Letting them go creates more space and more simplicity in your routines. This isn't about erasing your past. It's about honoring the woman you are right now. Every item that stays in your home should support your comfort, your health, and your joy in this very moment. If there's one kind of clutter that seems to multiply overnight, it's paper. Bills, receipts, letters, magazines. They sneak onto tables, pile up on counters, and before long, they feel impossible to control. For older women, paper clutter isn't just stressful. It can cause serious problems. Important reminders get lost, bills go unpaid, and doctor's appointments are missed simply because the card got buried under a catalog. I remember one woman who admitted she once skipped a medical checkup because the reminder letter was lost in a stack of old mail. She laughed about it at first, but then her face grew serious. she said. It scared me because I realized how quickly something small could affect my health. Doctors and organizing experts agree. The best way to tackle paper is to keep it simple. Complicated filing systems rarely last. Instead, use just 2 categories: to do and to keep. Place all incoming mail into one of those 2 baskets immediately. Bills or letters that need attention go into to do. Important papers like insurance or medical documents go into to keep. Everything else, junk mail, old catalogs, expired coupons, go straight into recycling. This one small system prevents papers from building into mountains. It keeps what's important visible and clears away the noise. The beauty is in its simplicity. You don't have to spend hours filing or sorting. With 2 baskets, your home feels lighter, and your mind feels calmer. So remember, rule number 5 is this: don't let paper control you. Create a simple, repeatable system, and you'll never again feel buried under piles you don't know how to handle. Another important rule doctors emphasize is this: limit hazardous or expired items in your home. These might seem small, but they can quietly become serious risks, especially as we grow older. Think about expired medications. A bottle of pills tucked away in the bathroom cabinet can easily be forgotten, and in a moment of confusion, taken by mistake. Outdated prescriptions may no longer work as intended, or worse, cause harm. Doctors warn that medication mix-ups are one of the most common health risks for seniors, and clutter makes them more likely. The same goes for food in the pantry or refrigerator. Older women are at greater risk for foodborne illness, and expired cans or forgotten leftovers can quietly threaten your health. One woman I knew became ill after eating soup from a can that had been in her pantry for years. She said, "I thought it would be fine, it was sealed." But expired food can harbor unseen dangers. Even cleaning supplies and household chemicals play a role. Half-used bottles stored for decades under the sink may leak, lose their labels, or mix with other substances, making them unsafe. And cluttered cabinets make it harder to know what's safe to use. That's why rule number 6 is so vital. Regularly check your medications, your pantry, and your cleaning supplies. Let go of what's expired, unsafe, or simply no longer useful. Replace only what you truly need. Remember, decluttering isn't only about making your home look better. It's about protecting your health. By clearing out these hidden hazards, you're choosing safety, dignity, and peace of mind. One of the simplest yet most powerful decluttering rules is this: follow the one in, one out principle. For every new item you bring into your home, let one old item go. This rule may sound small, but it's how experts, and even professional organizers, keep clutter from creeping back in. Because the truth is, decluttering once isn't enough. If we keep adding without letting go, the piles grow again, and the heaviness returns. I remember a woman in her 70s who told me she loved buying new scarves whenever she went shopping. But her dresser drawers were already overflowing. One day, her granddaughter gave her this advice: "Grandma, every time you buy a new scarf, pick one to donate." She laughed at first, but then she tried it. Within a few months, her drawer felt organized for the first time in years. She told me, "It made me think harder about what I truly loved, and it kept me from drowning in fabric." The one in, one out rule doesn't just apply to clothing. It can work with kitchen gadgets, books, even sentimental keepsakes. Every time something new comes in, ask yourself, what can I release to make space for this? This simple habit ensures your home stays balanced. Instead of clutter growing again, it stays under control. And with each small release, you remind yourself, I choose peace over piles, clarity over chaos. One of the hardest yet most important rules to remember is this: ask for help, and do it without guilt. So many older women I've spoken with say the same thing. I don't want to be a burden. I should be able to do this on my own. But here's the truth. Decluttering can be physically tiring, emotionally draining, and sometimes even unsafe to do alone. And needing help doesn't mean you're losing independence. In fact, it's the opposite. Asking for support is how you protect your independence. I think about a woman I met in her 70s who had lived in the same home for 40 years. Her closets were full, her attic overflowing, and she kept putting off decluttering because the thought of doing it alone was too overwhelming. One day, her daughter came over with a box of gloves and trash bags and said, "Mom, let's just do one drawer together." That single drawer turned into an afternoon of laughter, storytelling, and yes, real progress. At the end of the day, the mother looked at her daughter and said, "I didn't just clear a drawer, I gained courage." Experts remind us, decluttering is easier, safer, and often more meaningful when done with someone else. Whether it's family, friends, or even a professional organizer, sharing the task turns it into connection instead of struggle. And when we let others help, we also pass on our stories, sharing memories tied to the items we keep or release. So rule number 8 is simple. Don't carry the burden alone. Asking for help doesn't take away from your strength. It multiplies it. It reminds you that you're not alone, and that your well-being is worth protecting. Here's a rule that too many women overlook. Celebrate small wins. Decluttering is not a race, and it's not about clearing your entire home in one weekend. It's about steady, gentle progress. Every drawer you organize, every bag you donate, every shelf you clear, that's a victory. And those little victories deserve recognition. I once spoke with a 74-year-old woman who told me she used to beat herself up because she couldn't declutter as quickly as she wanted. She said, "I'd clear one corner of my bedroom, and then I'd feel discouraged because the rest of the room was still a mess. But then she began writing down her daily wins in a little notebook. Cleared my nightstand, donated 3 sweaters, sorted one drawer." A few months later, she looked back through her notes and realized her entire home felt lighter, because those small steps had added up to something big. Psychologists say that when we acknowledge progress, no matter how small, it boosts motivation and reduces stress. It shifts our focus from what's left undone to what we've already accomplished. And that change in mindset is what keeps us going. So don't brush off your progress as too little. Take a deep breath. Smile at the space you've cleared and the peace it brings. Every small win is proof that you're moving forward, one step at a time. And over time, those little wins will transform your whole home and your heart. Here's a rule that too many women overlook. Celebrate small wins. Decluttering is not a race, and it's not about clearing your entire home in one weekend. It's about steady, gentle progress. Every drawer you organize, every bag you donate, every shelf you clear, that's a victory. And those little victories deserve recognition. I once spoke with a 74-year-old woman who told me she used to beat herself up because she couldn't declutter as quickly as she wanted. She said, "I'd clear one corner of my bedroom, and then I'd feel discouraged because the rest of the room was still a mess. But then she began writing down her daily wins in a little notebook. Cleared my nightstand, donated 3 sweaters, sorted one drawer." A few months later, she looked back through her notes and realized her entire home felt lighter, because those small steps had added up to something big. Psychologists say that when we acknowledge progress, no matter how small, it boosts motivation and reduces stress. It shifts our focus from what's left undone to what we've already accomplished. And that change in mindset is what keeps us going. So don't brush off your progress as too little. Take a deep breath. Smile at the space you've cleared and the peace it brings. Every small win is proof that you're moving forward, one step at a time. And over time, those little wins will transform your whole home and your heart. Here's something many people don't realize. Decluttering isn't just about tidiness, it's a form of preventive care. Doctors and psychologists remind us that clutter doesn't only affect how our homes look. It affects how our bodies feel, how our minds work, and even how our emotions heal. When clutter piles up, stress hormones rise, focus drops, and forgetfulness becomes more common. For older women, especially those over 70, this stress can quietly impact health in ways we don't always see, by increasing blood pressure, disrupting sleep, and raising the risk of falls. But here's the hopeful truth. The act of decluttering itself can protect you. Clearing walkways lowers fall risks. Organizing medication reduces the chance of mistakes. Simplifying your environment makes daily routines calmer. and that peace lowers stress, which protects your brain and body. In this way, decluttering is more than a household task. It's part of caring for your future self. I once spoke with a woman in her 70s who said, "When I declutter, I feel like I'm giving my future self a gift." She meant that each drawer she cleared, each item she let go of, wasn't just about today. It was about making tomorrow safer, easier, and lighter. So when you follow these rules, remember this. You're not just cleaning up. You're taking charge of your well-being. You're choosing peace over chaos, safety over risk, and clarity over confusion. Decluttering isn't simply about things. It's about protecting your independence and making space for more joyful, healthy years ahead. As we close, I want you to remember this. Decluttering isn't about perfection. It's about protection. Protection for your peace of mind, your safety, and your independence. The rules we've talked about today. Putting safety first, starting small, saving sentimental items for last, focusing on what serves your life today, creating simple paper systems, letting go of hazards, practicing one in / one out, asking for help, and celebrating small wins. These aren't just tips. They're a blueprint for living lighter, calmer, and healthier in this season of life. And here's my gentle challenge for you. Don't just watch this video and move on. Before today ends, pick one rule and take action. Maybe clear your nightstand, toss expired medications, or donate one bag of clothes. Start small, but start today. Because each little step is a step toward freedom. If this message touched you, I'd love for you to subscribe. Not because I want another number, but because I want you to keep receiving the encouragement and guidance that can make your senior years brighter. And if you know someone else, maybe a sister, a friend, or a neighbor, who's struggling with clutter, share this video with them. Sometimes, the greatest gift we can give each other is a reminder that we don't have to do this alone. Your home doesn't have to weigh you down. With every item you release, you're gaining something far more valuable: clarity, safety, and the peace to enjoy the moments that matter most. So take that first step today. Your future self will thank you.